Hey, hey, welcome in. I hope I'm not too loud. I've been playing with this mic and I have this thing that's far away from my mouth, but I still feel like I'm really loud. So I'll try to keep my yoga voice on. And I hope you can hear the music as well. And my voice and the music is not competing at all. So happy that you're here. Welcome to your practice today. Whatever day that you have found me, I'm grateful to be here with you. We are coming to you live on a Monday here from Long Beach. But once again, wherever you are and whatever day it happens to be, it's wonderful that you've found your way here. And I'm excited to practice and connect with you here energetically and through the virtual world. So I'll join you back here on your mat. We're going to begin laying down on our backs, which is a nice place to start. So when you're ready, I'll meet you back on the mat. All right, so we're going to come all the way down flat onto our backs, closing our eyes and just taking a few deep breaths in an effort to arrive, to step away from whatever you were just engaged in. For many of us, it's many things. So just give yourself a few moments here. Start to tune into the breath and tune out of the outer world and any responsibilities or plans or upcoming engagements you might have following this. And then just breathe a little deeper, a little slower, and maybe a bit sweeter than you have yet today. So just with some more intention. And we're going to bring the bottoms of the feet together, knees open wide, Supta Baddha Konasana. So bottoms of the feet touch, knees fall as wide as they are willing to open today. And we'll bring one hand to our belly button, our Manipura chakra, one hand to our heart, the Anahata chakra. Just kind of notice which hand landed where. It's just interesting information. Whichever hand you write with, your dominant hand, that's your receiving hand. And your opposite hand is your giving hand. So just for a moment with your eyes closed, tuned into the breath and the body, just notice and feel which hand landed on which chakra. And then just breathe deep here. Beginning on our backs for our practice typically means that we're going to start with some core, which is a great way to get into the breath through the body. And it will provide an opportunity to notice the breath as you're met with maybe just a slight bit of a challenge for the core. So once you're ready, you'll release the hands and the arms, and they'll come down by your sides, and the legs will go straight up towards the sky. And as the legs come up, you might feel some tight hamstrings, and if so, your knees will be bent, and that's beautiful. Legs don't have to be straight. You might feel nice and loose in those hamstrings, and flexing the feet and reaching the heels towards the sky feels really good for you today. No matter what it is, we'll take a deep inhale, arms go up and overhead, so a big belly breath. And exhale, lift the head, arms up off the mat, and reach those fingers for the toes. So we're going to stay here, not holding our breath. The breath is still flowing, but what we've managed to do is engage the navel towards the spine, Float the head and shoulders up or back, up off the mat, and then reaching to lift the tailbone up as well. We're reaching up towards those toes, up towards the sky. So here we'll reclose those eyes. We'll come deeper into the breath. Kind of lift that tailbone just a little bit more. Chin is in towards the chest so that we're not stressing the neck. And we'll take 3 more rounds of breath. As we release that third exhale, we'll roll down, head, shoulders, and arms to the mat. And then we'll take the legs about halfway out or down. Good. So from here, you can stay. If you start to feel the lower back come up and off the mat, right? Maybe you went a little too far, legs can come back up. If you'd like to lift upper body, here we can float the same way we did, right? We're here for 5 rounds of breath. So once again, the focus, not so much on holding this static pose, but engaging the core, already starting to feel some warmth maybe as you bring the breath into the body. Okay. Good. Now from here, if your upper body is up, leave upper body up, float the legs down, nice and slow, and then head, shoulders, arms down. Let's inhale the arms overhead, take a full body stretch. Now we'll add in some movement. So as you are ready, legs come up and knees bend. So from here, we'll take the right leg over the left. And for some of us, just crossing the knees will be enough, and this will feel amazing. Knees can stay bent. If you would like to cross a second time, you can hook those toes behind the ankle. Think of eagle in your legs, right leg on top. We'll take the arms towards the sky and wrap the right arm underneath the left. Again, you could do once, hook at the elbows, backs of the hands together, or you could wrap palms together. Right? Eagle arm, eagle leg. All right. So if you're feeling like this is enough of a challenge to hold this here, then that's beautiful. This is where you stay. If you'd like a little bit more, we'll take a deep breath in. And with our exhale, lift your head and shoulders up and off the mat. All right. So this is our starting point, not holding our breath, a moving meditation. Inhale, reach the fingers overhead and those toes forward. And exhale, elbows and knees to touch. Okay. So a deep breath and a deep breath out. We have 10 of these. So if you're moving about the rate I am, I have 6 more. And it's challenging to talk through, right? Inside the breath. Waking up the core. Rolling the head and shoulders down once you've finished and uncrossing legs and arms. Bring them up above you. Circle out wrists and hands, ankles and feet. Good. And I like to give them a little shake here. Shaking the hands, shaking the legs. All right. And as you're ready, legs will come back up, knees bent, and left leg crosses over the right. And once again, if you feel the stretch already, and this is amazing, you stay here, keep both knees bent. That's awesome. Arms come up, deep breath in. Left arm underneath right. Do the same thing 10 times. Inhale, we lengthen apart. Exhale, we bring it in. Close the eyes. Take it at your own speed. Rest when you need. Invite that breath right into the belly. Let's release once you've got to 10. Arms and legs up. Good. Let's take that full body stretch again. Knees into the chest. Let's rock side to side. And as you're ready, forward and back. We'll take a few rocks and rolls. See if my mic can hang on here. And once you're ready, we'll come right up to a seat. So as we came sitting up tall, we'll sit down. Good. So I don't know about you, but that built a little heat and warmth for me already, which is a nice way to start the practice. All right, so now we're going to build with that heat and warmth internally. We're going to do some breath of fire, right? Kalabate breath. So when you're ready, even if you don't typically practice pranayama, this is okay. And I'll invite you to try this breath of fire, again, to bring in the warmth through the breath into the core, the front, the sides, the back of the core, all the way around. So when you're ready, arms come up, stretch and reach out. Good. We're going to bend the fingers until the fingertips come in and touch the knuckles, something like this. So it's very intentional and you're squeezing. So lots of engagement through the fingers, and then the thumbs are nice and wide but stretched out. And then the arms all the way out and up. All right, so Kalabate breath. If you are new, you can bring one hand or both to your belly. All right, and if not, you can just begin arms out. Inhales and exhales are through the nose, and it's a snap back through the belly, right? So it looks something like this. Right, so inhales happen all on their own. We focus on pressing the exhale out, navel back towards spine. All right, so when you're ready, keep those arms extended if you have it, or one or both hands on the belly as a reminder to pull and focus on the exhale, leaving the body centered right there. Okay, I'm going to clap and count with you. So when you're ready, let's all take a deep breath in together. Exhale out of the mouth. And we'll begin. You got it. 10 more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale. Arms down, palms face up, eyes closed. Take a moment. Receive the changes and the gifts of that pranayama, just even that short amount of time. All right, we're going to continue here, opening the eyes with our core-centered practice today. Did I mention that? Core-centered because the core is the center of our physical body, at least, and it holds us all in together. And core of the practice, breath of the practice, we're going to work to meld those together today. All right, let's flip the hands over onto the knees. We're going to inhale over towards that right knee and bring it forward. Exhale at the left knee and round it back. Doing it again. Inhale around and forward. Exhale around and back. All right, so these Sufi rolls will continue here. Stretching the outer thigh and allowing ourselves to round as feels really good here. Maybe moving your head around a bit. And this is counterclockwise direction. We begin in, that is the unwinding direction. We're clearing out old energetic space, acquiring space for the new. So just kind of close your eyes here as you're rolling. Notice if your body would rather be up taller moving through your rolls or a little bit lower. Honor that, whatever it is. And then just organically, you're going to notice that your body will want to just change direction. And you'll move and breathe with that. And as you move into this clockwise direction, this is the receiving direction. So you've cleared out that old stagnant energy. And now you're here to create and receive new. And again, notice if it feels best to kind of round down deep through your Sufi roll, or stay up nice and tall, whatever it is. Close those eyes. Got about 20 more seconds here. Good. Now we're going to return to center and we're going to uncross those legs. I'm going to spin on my mat for you here. We're going to find those sitting bones where we can balance and just hover the feet. Only the heels might be touching or just hovering. So we're going to have a nice flex through the foot. We'll inhale the arms up and maybe the legs come up as well. Coming into Navasana, boat pose. Good. So we're going to take a few rounds of breath here through a moving meditation. This was our inhale. Exhale, heels tap. Inhale, exhale. Heart lifted, knees energetically together. Even if they're not touching, they're squeezing together. And if we feel like our back is rounding as we're doing this and a bit of a struggle, hands can come behind knees and you can still move through this moving meditation. Right? So on an inhale, the legs lift, and on an exhale, the heels tap. Pulling navel in towards spine. We're going to do 10 more. Closing the eyes. Coming deeper into the breath. Nice. Come up, cross those ankles. Let's roll right over those knees. Tabletop position. Hands and knees. Good. We're going to stretch this out a bit, keeping those toes untucked here. We will inhale, drop the belly for your cow and float the shins and feet up off the mat. Now here, pull the hands back towards the knees. And on the exhale for your cat, drop the shins and the toes, come off of those knees and round. Down go the knees, up go the shins and the toes for cow. Exhale into cat, float the knees. A few more times. Last time. Let's come back to our neutral tabletop. Down to forearms. You can interlace fingers if you like. Let's step it back to a forearm plank. From here, we'll bend the right knee, tap the mat, lift it up, and switch for the left. So we're just going to walk side to side. And we'll start to feel the shoulders warm. So press down through those elbows into the mat. Round up through the shoulder blades like cat. And continue just walking your forearm plank. Close the eyes. Come deeper into the breath. You can do it. We've got 10 more. Lower down both knees. Separate the hands and come down with those hips. Got it. So we come down into Sphinx pose where elbows are directly below the shoulders. Heart is lifted. You can keep those legs completely connected to the mat, rolling the shoulders back and down. Lift the heart. If this is not enough for you and you are super loose in your low back, you can float up off the elbows and forearms to seal. But if it feels good, just stay here. We're just getting started. Good. Last round of breath. And then we're going to turn the elbows out so arms are perpendicular. Just making a pillow for the forehead is the easiest way to explain it. I'm going to try to not bump into my mic here. Your forehead is going to stay resting on your arm. So go ahead and just bring your head all the way down, even though mine is not. Okay, can't quite with this headset. All right, so head is resting down on the arms. And from there, you're going to float just the right leg up and off the mat. Point those toes. Imagine really lengthening that leg. And as you lift that right leg a little bit higher, you press your left leg down into the mat. 3 more rounds of breath. Really lengthen that right leg and engage the left leg down. And then we'll lower that right leg and just pause and notice the difference between the 2 legs. And so as you feel ready, forehead stays resting on your arms, left leg lifts. Now, right away, you might notice that this side feels different, right? And if that's the case, you can engage your right leg a little bit more. So squeeze the quad and press down into the mat. Lengthen that left leg. Point the toe. Yeah, help it get even longer and come into the breath. Eyes closed. Your head is down anyway. 3 more rounds of breath. You got it. And release. Good. Now we'll lift our head, slide our elbows back, and come back into that Sphinx pose. And just kind of notice, now how does it feel? And 1 more round of breath. And we'll slide the hands on the mat underneath the shoulders and just press up to hands and knees and right back to a child's pose. So this should feel amazing as you stretch it out. Just allow the heels and the hips to meet. You can walk those fingertips away from you, lengthen the arms, let the head rest, and take a few deep rounds of breath. This is a beautiful posture to visit, even not during a yoga practice. I'm up a lot in the night with my daughter, who's 1.5, and I'll find myself in a child's pose on the floor of her room when I'm trying to get her back to sleep. So just know that this posture has a lot to offer, and it's very calming for the nervous system. You just naturally close your eyes as your third eye center is connected to the earth. It's very calming. Your breath just kind of starts to regulate itself and send the messages to the nervous system that you're safe, you're in rest and digest, everything is okay. So come back and visit this as often as you'd like. And if you're ready to move a little bit more with me, we're going to lift up into our first downward facing dog. So as you're ready, just start to make your transition. You can move nice and slowly. If you need a few cat-cows on your way up and back, go for it. Walk your dog out side to side and then walk it nice and wide, edges of your mat. So when you bend one knee, the opposite heel reaches towards the mat and you can come off of that opposite foot entirely. And then we switch. Firm foundation in our down dog, which is an inversion. Our head is currently below our heart. Firm foundation is really important. So lift those fingers and then plug them down into the mat with purpose. Your pointer finger, the tip of your thumb, your pinky finger. Press down through the center of your hand and out through the joints. And then bend those knees ever so slightly to reach your heart back for the top of your thighs. Let the head hang heavy. Maybe you shake it out side to side, up and down. You can let those hips sway if that would feel good. Good. Now we're going to check our down dog length. One easy way to do it. We inhale forward to a high plank. And if you move your hands or your feet to adjust, that's okay, right? Go ahead and move your hands and your wrists so they're underneath your shoulders. Press up through the scapula, the shoulder blades, and the upper back. Good. Now we're going to hold this length from our plank into our downward facing dog. So take a deep breath and just shift forward onto those big toe tips. And exhale, down dog. Now don't move the hands or the feet. And if you feel a little extra long, right, well, this is the ideal down dog length for you, even if it feels a little off. Might not be what your body's used to. Let's try it again. Inhale, roll it forward, high plank, shift forward. Exhale, down dog. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Twice more. Let's bend the knees, walk the feet up towards the hands. Top of the mat, we'll separate the feet nice and wide for a ragdoll pose. Grab opposite elbows, or I like to let my hands just rest in my elbow crooks here. Let the head hang heavy, be held by gravity as you are folded over here, and just sway or move in any way that would feel good for you. Let's release the hands down to the mat. We'll heel toe those feet underneath the hips or big toes to touch, whatever suits you on this day. Inhale halfway, let the hands slide up the shins, let those shoulders slide back and away from the ears. All right, so what we're looking for is not so much how low or how high we are, but can we reach the crown of the head forward, pull the weight out of the heels just a bit. If the hands are on the shins, press into those shins so you can feel the triceps activate. Press back. And as you press back into those legs, shift the weight forward. Gaze is down, neck is long. Good. So if we're doing this correctly, we're not resting, right? This is a bit challenging here. Right, we'll inhale the arms out to the sides. Exhale, draw the navel towards the spine. Good. Shift the weight a little bit more forward. Take one more inhale. And exhale, fold. Inhale, let's rise all the way up. And with an exhale, we'll cactus the arms. We'll open the chest. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, hands to heart. Good, so we'll pause here for just a moment. Samastitihi. Realigning the head right on top of the spine. Kind of adjusting whatever we need to adjust here so that we feel good in this standing posture. And as we're ready, we'll move on. Inhale, circle the arms. Exhale, chair pose, hands through heart center and fold. Inhale halfway, arms out to the sides, rise all the way up. So it's a reverse swan dive. Exhale, cactus. Inhale up. Exhale, chair pose, hands through heart center. Sit through Uttanasana and fold. Uttanasana. Inhale halfway. Ardha Uttanasana, arms out by the sides, rise all the way up. Exhale, cactus, add a small back bend. Let it feel good. Rise. Chair pose, hands through heart center. This time we'll stay. Good. So now as we come down, we shift the weight back into those heels. Maybe the toes lift a bit, and if they do, that's okay. Just plug them back down and grip the mat. Good. If you tend to kind of have this arch through the lower back, we want to round the pelvis under. Okay. Sitting a little further back instead of down into a child's chair, right? Unless you're a child. But if you're an adult, your chair might be up more around here. It's just back this way. All right, 2 more rounds of breath. And as we exhale that second breath, we fold and plant the hands. Step the right foot back, drop that right knee, and switch the left hand to the inside of that left foot, okay? So we're gonna go nice and wide with that left foot, maybe towards the edge of the mat, and you're gonna come forward and back for those hips here a few times, side to side. Now, if you are a runner, we're going to add in some nice stretches for you today. Let's begin here. Right hand goes underneath the right shoulder. And as you plant that on the mat, left hand to left knee, let's twist and look over our left shoulder. Now, if we don't feel like we are getting that much, you can tuck these back toes under, come off the knee, wiggle that foot back, and then have more opportunity to twist. Notice what you're feeling in the front of that right hip. Squeeze and release this back right glute a few times. Coming into that hip flexor. And let's untwist. We'll bring the hands down here and let's tuck those back toes under, come off of that knee. So from here, we're on those back toes. The left foot is still wide, and this time the left hand plants underneath the left shoulder. Spin right arm up. Twist and reach. Come into that breath. Good. Next exhale, back down with that right hand, and we'll step right foot, top of the mat, toes out, heels in, Malasana squat pose. Let's sink down. Breathe deep. Close those eyes. And maybe engage the elbows into the inner knee and open nice and wide. Got 2 more rounds of breath. Planting the hands, straightening the legs as we heel toe those feet, either underneath hips or toes to touch. Inhale halfway, arms out to a T. Let's rise all the way up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale up. Hands through heart center, chair pose. Down and fold. Halfway, arms out, rise. Exhale, arms out. Up. Through heart center, chair pose. Fold. Inhale halfway. Arms out, rise all the way to continue that breath. Exhale, cactus, deep, deep breath out of the body. Rise up. Hands through heart center, chair pose, we stay. Good. So this being our second chair pose, we'll play around just a little bit here. And so as we shift the weight back into the heels, we'll float just that right foot off the mat, just an inch or two. Yeah, trying to stay as low as we can. Good, and then place it down. Left foot lifts. One more breath. And down. Fold on the exhale. Good. Let's step left foot all the way to the back of the mat. Lower down that knee and walk that right foot nice and wide. So if you didn't automatically end up on the other side, we're on the other side. So you're going to shift side to side and forward and back. And before we twist, just giving the body a chance to understand what we're asking of it and where we're going. So as you feel ready, left hand is underneath the left shoulder. You can take a look at it. Right hand comes to this knee. And if you don't feel like you got enough space, you can tuck and then lower. Okay. When you're ready, we twist. Noticing the front of that left hip flexor this time, engaging that left glute and releasing a few times will help to open the front of that hip. Last 2 deep rounds of breath. And as we untwist, let's come back forward. We'll tuck those toes under and lift that back left knee. So it's important for this right hand, this right foot to be nice and wide, and this right hand to come underneath the right shoulder, and we'll twist left arm up. Slowing down the breath. 2 more. And then lowering down, left hand, stepping left foot up, malasana, toes out, heels in, squat pose. Good. So the second time for us here, make sure that your feet are nice and wide. If you kind of come into a squat and your heels are in here, unless you have a ton of ankle mobility, it might not feel very good. So just widen those feet even more than you might think, because you can always just slide them back in, right? You can just kind of come back in side to side until it feels good. Okay. We'll add in a twist. So when you're ready, right hand down to the mat, twist left arm up. Last one. Let's come back at center, deep breath. Left hand down, twist right arm up. One more. To center. Good. And hands down. Okay. We'll step it back, high plank, both feet to the back of the mat. Big toes to touch. Good. Let's roll to the right side. Vashisthasana, side plank, left arm lifts. Take it up towards the sky. Maybe take it overhead. Good. Added challenge. Lifting top leg. One more breath. Over to your high plank. Big toes to touch. Other side. Rolling to stabilize. Top arm to lift or overhead. Stay in the breath. High plank. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, down dog. And so let's try that again, our plank to down dog, so that we know exactly how long the body wants to be. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Twice more. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Lower knees, bend elbows, come down. Baby cobra, Bhujangasana. Hands float, elbows squeeze your side body. Deepen the breath. Close the eyes. If you want more, you can interlace fingers behind your back. Keeping it low here in this first unsupported back bend. Right, we were in Sphinx pose, or maybe seal, but we're supported there. Last round of breath. Release. Hands underneath shoulders. Tuck those toes, engage up to hands and knees or high plank, down dog on your exhale. Walking big toes side by side. Let's inhale, right leg to lift. Exhale, stay here, flex that foot. One more. Let's inhale, point those toes. Exhale, bring that right knee forward. Touch that right arm. Send it back. Exhale, right knee, touch that left arm. Send it back. And to the right arm. All the way back. To the left. All the way back. This time, bring your right knee to that elbow and swing your foot around wide. So this is where we were before. Nice and wide. And take a deep breath in. We'll take the opportunity for this stretch one next level deeper. So if you were perfect before, lower that knee, hand to knee, and twist. That's beautiful. If you would like the next step here, reach right arm forward. And as you reach up, you spin to the outside edge of that back foot. Really important. Reach behind. Allow those hips to sink. Good, especially you runners. Last round of breath, up and over. Good, now you're gonna take this foot back and up. Good, so we're back in that down dog splits. Bend the knee, drop that foot. Good, stay here, or if it would feel amazing, just plant that right foot behind you. And if you're not really sure about where you're going, you can always have a seat. Okay, this is called wild thing, or sometimes you'll hear flip your dog. Right, same thing. Let's come up with the hips and over top arm. So all 10 toes are pointing away from you. Good. Stay inside the breath. And we'll come back over. Down dog splits. Keep that right leg lifted. And we're going to go one more opportunity here. So bring that right knee to that left arm as we did before. Straighten out that leg. Roll your back heel down so it's opposite of our wild thing, and lift those hips up. 2 more rounds of breath. Good. Now here's your challenge. Left hand down, spin onto those back toes, right? You're going to lift this leg, slide it through, lift it up, and maybe you keep it lifted as you come forward to a plank, lower down to the belly. Inhale, a mid cobra, and exhale, down. Take a deep breath in, tuck those toes, press up to your high plank, exhale to your down dog. So you're going to stay here in your down dog for 5 rounds of breath, or if you'd like a little extra cooling, come down into, let me check these comments. Thank you. Down into child's pose. Beautiful. We're going to explore the other side as we just did that side. So when you're ready from your child's pose, let's all meet in downward facing dog. Big toes to touch. Left leg lifts. Deep inhale. Exhale, stay here, flex that foot. The head be heavy. Extend that left leg as much as you are able today. Take one more deep breath in. Good, let's point those toes. And on an exhale, come forward, left knee to left arm. Inhale back to the right arm. Backing up to the left. Continue. And so this time, bring that left foot all the way up. All right? Nice and wide. So the left foot came to the left of the left hand. And if you're going deeper into this twist and stretch, left arm comes forward. Take a deep breath. Spin onto the outside edge of that right foot. Let the hip drop. It's a good one. Up and over. Good. Lifting left foot back and up. And here we'll bend the knee. Drop that foot over. Good. One more round of breath here. Keep that left foot lifted. And we're going to bring that left knee over to that right arm. Straighten out that leg, roll down. Up. Now we have one more, our wild thing. So when you're ready, left leg stays lifted. And from that bend, we step behind us. Spin those right toes to point away. I'm losing my headset. And then we'll come back over. Down dog splits. For more of that challenge, you can keep that leg lifted and we'll come forward. Ekapada, lower down. High cobra, maybe up dog. Transition, downward facing dog. Once again, if a child's pose feel better for you, please, this is the perfect time to take that. Yeah, it's either down dog, dolphin, or child's pose. Closing the eyes no matter where we are, coming deeper into the breath. Good. About 3 more rounds of breath. And we're going to meet at the top of the mat, however you'd like to transition into a standing forward fold at the top of the mat. So from here, if your hands don't touch the mat easily, you just kind of bend the knees and connect the torso to the thighs, right? Your hands need to be connected, fingertips, maybe fists, whatever it is, gazes down. And when you're ready, the right leg will go back and up. Good. So now maybe depending on your hamstring, this knee is bent, that's fine, no problem. Okay. Or you might play around coming off the hands and coming up into a warrior 3. Now we're going to transition this warrior 3 into a warrior 2. So notice right here, even if you move your hands to notice that your hips are squared. Okay. Now we're going to drop those back toes by bending the front knee. And as you drop those toes, roll the heel down and your hips open with the heel. Okay. Warrior 2 is a nice hip opener. So if your foot didn't go kind of far enough back until you feel a nice deep warrior 2, then just walk that front foot forward, re-engage the bend in the knee, and then help your right hip open back towards that right heel. So front knee over front ankle. We'll take a look down at those big toes. And once we have our nice strong warrior 2, arms extend, gaze forward. Good, deep, deep breath in. We're going to reach forward with that inhale into side angle. So for this first one, if you would like elbow on top of knee, palm face up, that's certainly an option. Right? If you don't want a modification, you cannot rest that arm. That's beautiful. More of a challenge, top arm comes overhead. And let's reverse our triangle. So straighten that front leg to kind of give it a break. Drop both shoulders away from the ears, and this right hip, really bump it back. So notice if the hip is at center and we're not really feeling too much, and we bump it back. And let's come back into our warrior 2. Now, if you're long like me, slide your front foot in just a little bit. We're going to come forward, hand on hip, and we're going to reach for the ground as our back right toes lift. So first we started in the standing splits, and now we're going to move into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. So we flex this back floating right foot. We keep that hip open, which is what our warrior 2 and our triangle just helped with. Gaze can stay down, hand can stay down, or fingers can float. Last round of breath. Good, come back. Warrior 2, and we'll reverse it. Cartwheel the hands down. Spin onto those back toes, step it back. Let's take a flow. Inhale forward in your high plank. Exhale halfway or all the way down. Inhale, any back bend that serves you, and exhale, down dog. Good. When you're ready, up onto the toes, bend the knees. Let's look forward. Step to the top of the mat. Inhale halfway, arms out to a T. Let's rise all the way up. Exhale to cactus. All the way up. Hands to heart, Samastiti, realign the head on top of the spine. So we're going to do that one more time for the other side of the body. I'm going to switch the direction I'm facing on my mat here. So as you're ready, let's inhale, circle the arms to rise, lift your gaze. Exhale, fold. Good. So just kind of release in the bottom of your fold here. Notice if the knees would appreciate to be bent. What happens for those hamstrings? Your hands need to be connected in some fashion to the mat. And once they are and you feel stable, left leg floats up and back. Once again, you can stay here. That's beautiful. Or you can play around lifting up into that warrior three. Hands could be at heart center. Arms could be extended. You choose. Gaze is down. Core engaged, neck long. Bend that front knee. Your back toes find the back of the mat and roll that heel down. All right. Good. Now, again, if you're long like me, sometimes we don't step far enough back to find the depth in the warrior two that our body would really appreciate. So just separate those feet even wider. Help that left hip open towards that left heel, and then engage the right knee over the right ankle. And once we have it, arms extend. Deep breath. Next inhale, forward. Maybe elbow to knee if you'd like that modification of side angle. Arm can come overhead, or we don't rest. All right, beautiful. Side angle is this angle of the side of my body right here. That's where the name comes from. Last breath. Again, reverse triangle. So notice here, we won't feel too much if hips are at center and just the arm is up. Take this back hip, your left heel, and bump your hip back. Reach up. Last round of breath. Good. And then come back into your warrior two. So now this is an opportunity to slide that foot back. We're going to come into half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. I like to begin with my hand on my hip and then let this hand find the top of the mat somewhere. Flex that back foot. Really elongate that leg. Find your one point of focus, your drishti. Good. 2 more rounds of breath. You got it. Bend that front knee. Back into warrior two. Reverse it. Cartwheel hands to the mat. Spin onto those back toes. Step it back. High plank. Shift forward. Low plank. Just halfway. Back bend. And down dog. Good. So I'm going to offer, before we get into stretching in our half pigeon pose, which will be almost the last thing we do before we come down onto our backs, I'm going to offer one challenge of working into hurdlers. I used to get a lot of questions in class. Why do we always do knee to elbow, knee to elbow? You know, and it's until you move on from there, you don't really know why it's happening. So I'll just give you one opportunity on each side, of course, to play around and practice. So from downward facing dog, as you come up, big toes to touch, center of the mat, right leg will lift. We'll take a deep breath in, point those toes, and exhale, come forward, right elbow to right knee. Now from here, you'll have to hinge forward, bending your left elbow in, bringing your face really close to the mat to create a shelf. Now I probably sounded really funny or echoey because I got so close, but that's a really important part of moving into hurdlers. That was just kind of first stage hurdlers, if you will. to float the leg, and maybe that happens for you today and maybe not, but that's what we're working towards every time we practice, bringing the knee forward, which is why I always aim and encourage the knee to come towards the tricep and not the elbow. So let's try the other side. Downward facing dog, big toes to touch. Left leg lifts. Bring that knee forward. Good opportunity. So you could keep it low, you could lift it high. You have to shift forward, bend into that elbow, engage the core. Maybe your chin even touches the mat. Right? To actually move in takes practice. It took me a long time to even, well, I didn't even know there was something after elbow to knee. I didn't need elbow. I wasn't sure why we were doing it. So there's the context. If that's something that you enjoy working towards or playing around with some arm balances, there's one for you. And now we're going to move into our half pigeon pose. So down dog, one more time. Right leg to lift, bend that knee, open this hip. So before we come into half pigeon, just circle out that hip. Good. Let's come forward. This time, right knee to right elbow and lower that knee down. I like to tuck my toes, walk my foot back, and then help myself down. I've had 2 knee surgeries, so half pigeon is really hard for me. And it's one that we're always very careful of, paying attention and being really aware of how our knees feel. So you could stay nice and high in your half pigeon. Sometimes I would see people just dropping down, which is fine. Come into sleeping pigeon if you'd like. But for more of a challenge, tuck your toes under, lift that knee, and then scooch back before you lower that knee again. Untuck those toes. Walk the hands back towards the body. Right? So to deepen our opportunity for pigeon, I find that if we use the muscles that we are asking to stretch and release, that we have a greater ability to target those muscles. So come up nice and high and then bring hands to heart center. And what happens when your hands come off the mat is those muscles have to kick on to stabilize you here. Right? That's what we're looking to stretch. So once you've felt that, and you're like, oh, lower the hands, come down just to elbows and forearms. I like to start here and I like to sway side to side. Very gently. Well, pigeon is one of those ones we hold a bit longer than other postures because typically our body is really good at guarding and holding engagement in muscles in an effort to protect us. And we need to kind of see that through. So maybe you're good on elbows and forearms. Maybe here's your opportunity for sleeping pigeon. You come all the way down. And so whatever it is for you today, just kind of notice as you close the eyes, scan the body. Do you feel some muscle engagement that you can invite to release through an exhale? It could be anywhere. It could be that outer hip. It could be your face. It could be your shoulders. It could be anywhere. So ideally, we would hold this posture for anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes. And that's what you experience in a yin style yoga class. A whole different level. Holding that long gives the body a chance to get deeper into the fascia, to let those muscles release and soften enough to where we can actually affect some change in the fascia where we can start to stretch and release. So let's close the eyes here, and in silence, we will do 5 more rounds of breath. If this is feeling like a lot, you can certainly come out slowly, but I'd invite you to stay. Only a couple more rounds of breath. You can do it. And then we'll walk those hands back in towards the body. All right, now stretching out half pigeon is my favorite. So tuck those back toes under, lift that back knee, firmly plant the hands on the mat. And as this right leg comes under you and up into a down dog splits, just kind of shake it out. And then try that wild thing one more time. Bend the knee. Step that right foot behind you, and your right hand will just automatically leave the mat because you're rotating. Spin those left toes up and over. Now we won't stay here for 2 to 5 minutes. I guess you could. Well, let's come over to our high plank, down dog, hips up. Good. So this is your last downward facing dog. Let it feel really good. And then we'll move into our half pigeon for the other side. So your left leg will lift on an inhale, point those toes. Exhale, bring that knee forward towards that left hand, and then lower down the knee, the shin, the foot. I like to just really wiggle, wiggle, wiggle my back foot back. And even as I drop that knee, I might need to even move back just a little bit more. So a flex in this foot, left knee out to the left, walk the hands back towards the body. So you're up nice and high. This is an opportunity for the other side of the body. Breath is deep, shoulders down and away from ears. When you're ready, hands to heart center. One more deep breath. Hands find the earth, maybe down to forearms. Maybe you stay on hands. I like to sway. And wherever you are feeling the most, where you send your breath. So lots of sensation is an opportunity that we receive through our asana practice, right? But we are never looking for pain. Pain is not a part of yoga, and it is a direct communication from your body that something is not right. So you might feel lots of sensation here. I certainly do. But I wouldn't classify what I'm feeling as painful. And so notice if there's a story that you're creating over what you're feeling, or if you can just be inside the feeling here. Maybe you walk your hands forward and you come down even lower. So wherever you are, we're going to take those 5 deep, slow, loving rounds of breath. And with the eyes closed, as you start to scan the body, each exhale, providing that opportunity, the exit route from your body to release any engagement that isn't serving you. Staying for these last couple rounds of breath, if you can. You got it. We're going to stretch this out. It will feel so good. So as you are ready to move out, come back up to those hands. Tuck those back right toes. Let's lift that left leg up and shake it out. And then wild thing, other side. All right, let's come over to a high plank. Lower the knees to the mat. Let's walk forward. Cross the ankles, have a seat, and let's come all the way down onto our back. So we're going to revisit how we started our practice today. Legs up the imaginary wall. Float those legs. We'll play around with an added challenge. Now we started with those eagle crunches. Here we'll extend arms up and overhead. Exhale, float up and reach for those toes. Good. Now we're going to extend arms overhead, extend legs, and come back to center. 2 more. You got it. Knees into the chest. Head down, rock side to side. I'm going to bring both knees over to the right. Twisting upper body to the left. And closing the eyes, and as we've reached this portion of our practice today, we know that Shavasana is coming close. Let's bring those knees back to center, and you will rotate to the left. Upper body to the right. Closing those eyes, softening the jaw, the face, just being in this gentle spinal twist. Now let's untwist, come back to center with those knees. And happy baby, knees wide, feet to the wide as well, to the edges of the body, and hands come up to reach for the feet. And rocking side to side in your happy baby here. Taking any movement that would feel amazing. And if your body is asking or would appreciate something else, this is a beautiful entry here into a plow pose or shoulder stand. Or I always say it because it's always true. You can also drop the feet and lift those hips up towards the sky for a bridge pose, which is really nice before Shavasana too. We'll take about the next 30 seconds or so. So nice few deep rounds of breath to explore. And when and as you find yourself feeling ready for your Shavasana, you'll let the body come down to the earth. And then just allow yourself to release, let go, and be held by this blanket of gravity as you close the eyes. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Let the lower jaw separate. And drawing a deep breath into the body, opening the mouth for your exhale, and doing this twice more. Reawakening from your Shavasana for the second time today. Wiggle fingers and toes. If you're on your back, let your head roll right and left. Move hands and feet. And then let's take a full body stretch. Arms up and overhead. Point those fingers, point those toes opposite directions. Give yourself some traction. Get really long, stretch it out. And exhale, knees into the chest. Give them a hug. Rock side to side. Let yourself fall over onto whichever side is calling you. Both sides are there. One will call you over. Resting in fetal pose there for at least a few rounds of breath. And then helping yourself up to a seated posture to close our practice. So coming up to seated, reclosing those physical eyes for this last moment together. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart, Anjali Mudra. We always breathe a little bit sweeter in Anjali Mudra, just naturally. And imagine this breath is coming right to and from your heart space. So take a moment inside that love for yourself to acknowledge this gift that you gave today. Acknowledge with appreciation, with gratitude, with reverence that you took this time for yourself. It's not just about the physical body, right? But you took this time to focus on your breath, to check out of that busy, crazy world, and to check in with yourself. What a beautiful, healthy decision. I honor you for showing up for yourself today, and I am honored to have been with you. As we close our practice, we bow forward to acknowledge one another in love, in reverence. Namaste. Thank you for being with me today. Most importantly, for making it to your mat. I know how challenging it can be. Even myself in my own life, there are days I don't make it to my mat, and I know that I really feel all the benefits when I do carve out that time and that space just for myself. So I honor you for doing so. I appreciate your donations. All the information is on the Yogalution Instagram and Facebook page. It keeps me coming to you, zooming here from this beautiful space, and I love being able to serve you until we're able to come back together in person again. This is what we have. So have a beautiful, blessed day. Stay kind to yourself and one another. And I hope to see you again. Check out my YouTube as well. Everything is under Spiritual Physique. You'll see that listed and tagged. Have a beautiful, blessed rest of your day.